Hey there YouTube! In this video I'll be taking you through the evolution of Combat Beta by looking in depth at the combat system. As you can see, this beta server is just a copy of the regular RuneScape server with a few things added and taken. There are traders in Lumberage who give you free gear, so you can try them out on the new system, and most notably, of course, the different combat system. Click on one of the options here to be taken to that part of the video. Or just wait a while, and they'll all play in that order. The new system is not that different from the old one. It is possible to just click an AFK like before, although not nearly as effective as actually trying. Special attacks have been removed and replaced with abilities and an adrenaline bar that fills during combat. There are three kinds of abilities: Basic, Threshold, and Ultimate. Basics can be used at any time, but they have a cooldown, so you can't use them back to back. Whereas Thresholds can only be used if half your adrenaline bar is full, but they still have a cooldown time, so no back to back. Ultimates require the whole bar and drain it down to 0. But, as you may have guessed, they're very powerful. And cooldown won't really matter because it'll cool off before you get your adrenaline bar back up there. Melee's abilities focus mainly on doing damage and causing bleed effects. Two-handed swords gain very powerful abilities that can take out a lot of enemies at once, while one-hands are paired with a shield for excellent defense and HP boosts, or an offhand weapon, which I'll get into later. Range focuses on keeping your distance with abilities that stun and ones that help you get away quickly. Bows have regained their usefulness after being overshadowed by crossbows, and now have their own set of abilities, like firing multiple shots, and had a big boost in power. Crossbows also now have a two-handed variation for more power, but with the crossbow abilities. Crossbows and other one-handed ranged weapons can also be dual-wielded. Magic has the smallest number of new abilities, because most of them are spells that we had before. Spells don't have a cooldown time like abilities, but they require runes to cast. All staves are now two-handed, and we have wands, orbs, and books for one hand and offhand. Yes, magic can be dual-wielded as well. As one would expect, the 2H staffs grant more power at the cost of speed. Magical abilities don't differ from one weapon to another. One of the most notable magic ultimates is Metamorphosis. Metamorphosis transforms you into an elemental for 20 seconds, depending on the elemental spell you casted most. It gives your elemental spells a great boost in power, depending on what element you became. For example, if you're an air elemental, your air spells will be a lot more powerful. Dual wielding has been brought to RuneScape finally. A lot of people, including myself, have been wanting it, and now we finally have it. To dual wield, you need a specific offhand version of your weapon. It'll say offhand in the title, so you know what you're getting. Dual wielding gets its own set of abilities for both melee and range, and it raises the casting speed in magic by a lot. However, with shields getting a really nice buff, you do have to be careful against someone with a shield, because they're going to block a lot of your damage, and you're probably going to be hurting. You can also use dual wielding to go hybrid, wielding a sword in one hand and a crossbow in the other, for example. This allows you to use one-handed abilities for both melee and range without switching weapons, which got a nerf, making it so that you can only switch one item out every few seconds while in combat. Magic wands and such have no use being wielded with a crossbow or a sword. You still need to cast the spells manually. Thanks for watching, I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, I would appreciate any subs, comment, faves, and whatnot. Also remember to leave a comment if you have a question, and I'll try to answer it should my brain be working at the time. It usually is.